right? Good.
Yes, we are. Hey, we're going to taste some whiskey with you. Hey, it's bourbonblog.com. I'm Tom Fischer. I'm joined by Wesley Stace. That is, he's just released a new album, Late Style. How's it going, Wes?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I last saw you in person. It must have been a couple months before the pandemic. You were on a house concert tour. That, you know, the interesting thing is, I had been to house concerts. That's something that obviously we did that January of 2020, and then of course we entered the pandemic. It was like I was so glad that I saw you at that house concert. But how was that? How was that for you going from a very intimate small tour, then going right to where you couldn't tour at all?
It's a good question. Robert Lloyd, who tours with me, who you remember, and I were very lucky in that we were probably the only two musicians last year who got all their work in before the lockdown happened. I mean, the tour finished on March the 7th because March the 8th was my wife's birthday and I wanted to be at home. And after that, we never went out again for another 18 months. So it was strange, and people told us not to tour in the winter, which was mistaken of them because it was the only time you could tour last year. And in fact, that tour was a really, really happy event as well because we played a lot of gigs. And when there wasn't a gig to be had, we would fill in with these house concerts. And I just reached out to fans or friends and fans through my Facebook page and said, who wants to do this? And it was a very collaborative effort, and we had a very, very enjoyable time on the tour, and even more enjoyable that it happened at all.
Yes, that it happened. Absolutely. And for those of you all watching, I'm going to put some photos up on Bourbon Blog when we post this, so please go to Bourbon Blog and take a look at those photos from the fun we had with Wes at the concert, tasting whiskey afterwards. It was a really good time. So now you just released Late Style. This is going to be, from what I'm seeing and from what I recall, obviously for those of you that listened like me, college radio, what have you, in the 90s, always went by John Wesley Harding. This is the first album you're under the name Wesley Stace.
Actually, it's the third. Actually, the first one was called. The first one was called Wesley Stace Self-Titled, and then the next one was the one I made with the Jayhawks, Wesley Stace's John Wesley Harding, which tried to balance both. But this Late Style one is the newest one, and a little bit more reflective of the music that I listened to in my kitchen. I wanted to make a kind of a jazzier album because, you know, the music I make has generally and historically kind of skewed somewhere between folk rock and power pop. And, you know, that's what those modern rock charts were all about back then. And and I've always looking at different ways of presenting the lyrics. And I tried to write some tunes for this new set of lyrics, but then I suddenly felt, well, maybe this isn't as jazzy, as groovy as I want it to be. And so I gave them to Dave Nagler, who's the head of the musical director of the Cabinet of Wonders in New York City. And so he took care of the tunes and the arrangements for me. And then after a little bit more collaboration, you hear the finished product, which was quite a thing to get finished in lockdown, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, what were the pros, the cons, what that came out of it? What do you what were the
I've got to let my dog in. My poor dog is scared of the storm. She's jumping up. She's jumping up in the window.
You go for it, Wes. Again, we're with Wesley Stace here, and we're going to be tasting some whiskey here with him in a moment. Take a moment, like and share this video, especially for all of those Wesley Stace fans out there like myself. I've sent him some unique whiskey to taste, and I have the same bottle.
My dog gets very traumatized in storms. Doodle, Dipper, come on. She likes to go under the desk. She likes to go under my desk. She's going under my desk now. She is now under my desk.
She's now. What's the dog's name?
Dipper.
Tipper.
Dipper.
Dipper. Oh, Dipper.
The dog has Dipper. The dog has two names, though. The kids call her one thing, and I call her another. But uh, anyway, so now the lockdown, well, what are the pros and cons? I mean, the cons were, of course, that I couldn't make the album. The way I wanted to make the album was to record it, to rehearse it up so well with a little jazz combo, stand-up bass, drums, a couple of singers, and record it live and have that be the album. But COVID certainly had other ideas about that, and also got in the way of a lot of collaborative work that wasn't kind of long distance or done via Zoom. And it's notoriously hard to make music with someone else via Zoom. And so what we couldn't do was be all in the room at the same time to make it. What we could do was work really hard on producing something elegant and beautiful that people Kelly Hogan and Nora O'Connor were in Chicago. Prairie Prince, the drummer, was in San Francisco. The producer was in San Francisco. So we had a very strong blueprint that we put together in Brooklyn, David Nagler, and Philadelphia here. And then we gave that to people with the parts that we wanted them to play on it. And it's a major achievement. It comes out so organic sounding and kind of swinging sounding, because there wasn't a lot of music being made together, as I'm sure there wasn't on many of the albums that have come out recently, because there hasn't been the time and space to do it.
It's an incredible album. You got to check it out. Again, it's Wesley Stace Late Style, and it's where you listen to music: Apple, Spotify, you name it. And you're on tour right now. You were in the city. Actually, I'm in Brooklyn right now, overlooking Manhattan. You were in this. So I missed you by a week. Hopefully, I'll see you on more of your tour. But you're in New York last week, City Winery. Tonight, not tonight. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night.
Yeah, Philadelphia. Yeah, and then we've got some more dates coming up. But it's not a time, I think, to be doing huge long tours. Sure, but with any luck, and I mean, we all have to cross our fingers and hope people keep testing negative and stuff like that. With any luck, it is a time to be able to pop to New York City and pop to Boston, wherever you can pop to. I think it's a place you can do a show, if you know what I mean. I would be quite nervous about, booking 2 weeks from Denver to LA. That feels to me like it might not work, whether you're in a tour bus, a private plane, or indeed just a couple of cars. It feels tricky and like, I made a joke that was perhaps a little bit too soon to my agent about how we ought to book some dates just so we can cancel them in 2 months' time. But that's kind of how it feels. That's kind of how it feels like at the moment, because it's what you keep seeing happening. Agents are very keen and, should be booking the dates, but then things change and the dates can't get done. Someone in the band tests positive, whatever it is. It's a very difficult time to be. It's a very difficult time to be doing anything in public.
Right, it is. And as fans return to going to live shows, as you return to it, obviously, I know you've always enjoyed it. You've always been there, stuck around, met your fans afterwards. I mean, you're very personable. You appreciate your fans. But now that we've all come out of something where we really haven't seen too many live shows for nearly 2 years, what's that energy like?
Yeah,
with fans with you. What's it like?
Fantastic, actually. The first 2 shows are absolutely fantastic, but you have to remember also, in a way, it's almost impossible for me to compare them, because what I'm putting before people this time is very, very different to what I normally put before people. It's not me and Robert with him playing the riffs and the solos on a mandolin or another guitar or a keyboard. It's very, very different to that. It's a fully worked out, proper band, well rehearsed, and I am playing very little guitar and singing most of the new songs without holding a guitar at all, which I have to say is very liberating. I'm famous for not liking to rehearse anything ever, and because I always feel that I'm rehearsing for other people, really. I'm just there as a prop to make sure they're there. But with this, I thoroughly enjoy it because the songs aren't only mine, they're David's as well. So it's very very exciting for me to sing them and try and sing them as well as I can. So I enjoyed all the rehearsals, and then to get back in front of people was terrific. And I have to say, in a funny way, I wouldn't say I missed it and was champing at the bit to get back to doing it, but certainly the feeling of happiness at doing it was huge. I mean, I'm quite a homebody anyway. Unless I'm actually doing a show, I'm probably not going out very much. I only go out to see friends, really.
Right. I'm trying to remember. I know it was maybe a week or two into the pandemic, because I know on Facebook with you, I follow what you do. You released something that was it your daughter helped you shoot? It was some sort of that was cool. Remind me what that was.
I had a lot. Yeah. Well, I did a cover of A Splendid Isolation by Warren Zevon, and I recorded it on my iPhone at this desk, and then I gave it to her, and she cut a video of me miming to it. But it all kind of looked like I wasn't miming, I think. And I think she was about 13 at the time, and she did a great job. And I found that, and then we did another one, To See My Friends by the Kinks down at the river.
Right.
But what I did, apart from getting this album together, what I did was kind of fill lockdown with a bunch of projects that I thought might make everybody was feeling quite lonely and isolated, particularly at the beginning, as you remember, and as we all felt and remember, unable to even hug people who weren't people in our immediate bubble of house, and not able to see our I mean, it's so weird. And so I tried to do things that I thought gave a little sense of community to what was happening through the internet, that there was a way that we could all be chatting a bit more. And so that was what I tried to engender via a series of projects of various values. But one of the things that I did, which pertains to you and your project, and I don't know if you know about it, you probably do, if you've seen my Facebook, what I did was I started to, oh no, it's got to be on the camera. So this is what I might mail out to you. And in here, we're going to have a little unboxing video.
Okay, this is the unboxing.
Yeah, so that I've never done an unboxing video before. Mind you, I suppose it doesn't really count.
Thank you.
It doesn't really count if you know what it is. But, so there we have the late style glass.
I love it. I love it. And
the late style bourbon glass.
That is so cool.
In front of my Rufus Thomas sweatshirt from the Stax Museum in Memphis. So there, and the late style cocktail glass, which is on my website, also comes with the late style coaster.
Wow.
And this is the best bit, the late style cocktail recipe that I concoctailed at my house. I've just got generic bourbon, and that's the late style cocktail. So
what's in the?
So that's the whole kit.
So cool. What's in the cocktail?
The cocktail is bourbon in equal parts, bourbon and Domaine de Canton, that ginger liqueur.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like a lot. Although you could use any ginger liqueur in there, I guess.
Really good. Yeah,
I like it. And then a third part of that lime juice. Squeezed, got to squeeze it, and Fernet Branca, which is the unusual touch in there, just a tiny little thimbleful of menthol amaro in what is basically a ginger and bourbon cocktail. And I wanted a cocktail that would be warm and wintry for the autumnal nights that I know people are going to spend listening to my beautiful, lush new album in their space age bachelor or female bacheloress pads. And so that was why I made one of the bundles, the napkins with the cocktail recipe, which wasn't revealed until the album came out, the coaster, and best of all, the glass.
The glass. And you can get it all
and
there.
I'm going to put shall I put some bourbon in this glass now?
Let's do it. I was going to say, perfect timing. We both have the same. It's really great, and it's from Kings County, which I just went to yesterday. Kings County Distillery, just down the road from where I am right now in Williamsburg. Kings County, and then Old Naval Yard in Brooklyn, and they are actually New York City's oldest distillery post-Prohibition, because they started a little over 10 years ago, 10 and a half. I think we're going on 11 now, and they've been making great whiskey. Colin and his team, they're making great whiskey. So this is a peated bourbon. So they're using some peated malt from England, which they get that with 20% of that, and then 80% corn from America, New York grains, and that already has this peatiness to it, and they make the whiskey out of it, and so it has the reason why it is Scotchy is it sort of starts as a Scotch from Britain, right? So
Yeah,
it's a little bit of your
I don't know
heritage.
where was that peat from? Was it from England or Scotland?
So I know some of what they do is from England. I think it's from England. I know some of the peat they get from England. Some of it may be Scotland, but it is from the UK. I feel like, though, I was told yesterday that it was from England, but I'll double check.
I must say, I think this is an excellent drink, and it is Scotchy. It's very Scotchy. And the only criticism I'll make of it, which is in no way critical of this particular drink, but I am such a bourbon lover that sometimes I taste the Scotchy bourbons and I feel that they are being made to almost woo Scotch drinkers over to bourbon. Like my dad does not like, who's about to celebrate his 80th birthday. Wow. He does not like bourbon terribly much. He's the greatest Scotch drinker in the world. He loves Scotch, but he doesn't like bourbon particularly. And because I like bourbon so much, I've occasionally bought him a bottle of Knob Creek, which he thinks is a hilarious name for a drink, or, Woodford or whatever it is. But in the end, like when one tries to make one's parents do all those, let's go to this restaurant that I like that will be way too loud for you, that you won't like at all. That way that we deal with our parents that we have to grow up and get beyond. Now I just get him a bottle of Scotch because that's what he really wants. He doesn't want the bourbon because he doesn't like it so much. But this is a bourbon that you would give to my father, because if he doesn't like bourbon, this is the bourbon that would make him like bourbon, and it could be his gateway bourbon. But for me, I find that the Scotchier of the bourbons are not the ones I naturally gravitate towards, I must say, even though this is absolutely delicious. Is that fair to say? Am I allowed to say that?
Very fair. Yeah, I think it's very fair to say. And maybe you can pour him some of the Kings County, and who knows? See if he knows right away if it's a Scotch or a bourbon. It's like the best of both worlds.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I've got something else to say about that. But also, can you imagine? It might be a sin, but can you imagine the bourbony, Scotchy cocktails one could make with this particular drink? It could make some of the most delicious Scotch cocktails you've ever had. Really nice. And another thing, I am no stranger to Kings County, and I have, I've tried I'm not sure I have actually tried this one, but I was looking, it came with a little brochure, and I'll tell you what I loved in that brochure is the family tree of bourbon whiskeys.
Yes.
Did you see that chart? It is sensational. I thoroughly recommend anybody who's interested in bourbons looking this up online, because they said it was like in some Vogue or Esquire article and it went viral a couple of years ago or something. So it must be online somewhere. But what it is, well, you can explain to me what it is, but what it is basically is who's making which bourbon, and on the family trees, how the whiskeys all flow in and out of one another, right?
Absolutely. How they're all connected, the heritage, how they'll, obviously in Kentucky, like any smaller area, as we have heritage, it's all connected. I will put a link up, Wes. I'm glad you mentioned that on bourbonblog.com.
It's fantastic. I really enjoyed
all this done. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the brochure, and it made me remember that there are a couple of those whiskeys that I really like too, that I will have to get back into my cabinet.
But that cabinet of wonders of whiskey, some great whiskey.
Cabinet of whiskeys.
Cabinet of whiskey. Yeah. I'm glad you like this one. It really fits with the East Coast theme this week. Again, that concert tomorrow night, Philadelphia at the City Winery. And as you add more dates, they'll be up on your website, your social media.
Absolutely. And, I just think we've got to think of these things. It's just all a developing situation. There's no reason to have a 2-month tour. There's no possibility to have a 2-month tour with a band and have it all go south. It's much better to just, this album isn't going away anytime soon, and I fully intend to tour it for a year or two, just more on and off than usual is, I think, the thing.
Well, I can't wait to see you again. Bring you some whiskey. Have some more fun. Do you want to play a little something from the album, or do you just want to keep them interested and have them come to the show?
Would you like me to?
I'd love for you to play something. For it. Yeah, I'll put it on full screen for you now that you've well, not that you need the warming up with the voice, but you have a little whiskey on the voice. So have at it, my friend.
Hold on, I've got to get a capo.
Okay, he's getting the capo, and again, you're watching Bourbon Blog Live, and we're talking with Wesley Stace. You may also know him as John Wesley Harding. His other albums and several under the name Wesley Stace. So look both of those places if you're looking around on Spotify, Apple Music. We're having some whiskey and talking about his new album and his tour. All right.
Here we go.
Give it to you, my friend, on full screen.
Thank you. That'll do. Oh, you're such a bad winner, baby. It must be beginner's luck. I don't know how, but you got it done. I guess you're a lucky duck. So wave your medal upon the podium and then please go away. Oh, come back yesterday. You've got the balls for a struggle, baby, but you don't have the stomach for love. You want it all to be all about you, and even that isn't enough. So eat your words and delete your account because you're old and in the way. Oh, come back yesterday. Way back before Hitler, baby, I think we were warned a bit. How the man who believes in nothing at all wears any clothes that fit. And they'll cover up every crime they commit to delay the moment they. Oh, come back yesterday. Your clothes will be way back in style, like your views and women in kitchens, or maybe his muses and old worlds to conquer and slaves with the blues and ask but don't tell, except when you're cruising and problems you cause you can blame on the Jews. It's better for everyone. The kids around here have got wide open minds. They're more empathetic than you. But even the cutest cannot relate to your antediluvian views. Your monument will be your grave, and the epitaph will say, oh, come back yesterday. Better for everyone. Perhaps the solution suits you too, since you just want to turn back time. But nobody smart wants to live in the past or go back to primordial slime. And soon you'll be gone, so please move along, and tomorrow just call to say, oh, come back yesterday.
Very nice. Wesley Stace on his new album, Late Style. That was Come Back Yesterday. That was really nice, my friend. I really enjoyed the new album. And
thank you very much.
Yes, and again, it's out there now. Oh, here it is. Look, and it's on. Is that a vinyl copy? Or no, it's a CD. Are you?
No, that's a very. It's going to be coming on vinyl, but as everybody knows, there is an international vinyl crisis,
Right.
and so the vinyl isn't going to be here till December or something.
It's going to be
luckily I have a bunch of pre-orders for that, but the vinyl's going to be beautiful. But the CD is very nice too, I have to say. Omnivore did a terrific job putting that together.
It's I love the graphics. As you zoomed in there, I was like, is that vinyl? But the vinyl is coming, and again, you can get that whole cocktail kit. With the glasses, the coaster, the napkins, wesleystace.com, the album as well.
It's
and hopefully we'll see you real soon.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you. When was the last time we hung out? Was just outside Cincinnati, right?
It was, yeah, right outside of Cincinnati, on the Kentucky side. And again, we had such a good time that night.
Fort Thomas, Kentucky.
Fort Thomas,
right?
That's what it was. Our good friend hosted us.
With Don Huber.
John Huber, yes. We had just such a blast having whiskey with you, especially after the show. Like I said,
it was really nice.
Yeah, I'll post
pictures. That was the night. That was the night that you introduced me to what's become almost my favorite bourbon. Do you remember what it was?
Which one is it? Because I know we had several that night. Which one was it?
It's the Aged at Sea.
I thought that's what you were going to say. I know we tried Peerless, we tried Agency, we tried a lot of it. The Agency has such a beautiful story to it as well.
I love that whiskey, and I haven't been able to find it in the place I buy whiskey in New Jersey recently, and I was so delighted. We went to dinner with some friends of ours just down the road last Saturday, and my friend Ed said, "Oh, by the way, I have a bottle of that Aged at Sea that you like." And so all those memories came flooding back to me of that glorious night in Fort Thomas, Kentucky.
We had so much fun at Fort Thomas. Well, I'll make sure I get you some of that too. And I'd love the Aged at Sea, the Ocean Aged at Sea is so nice. The story it tells is really magical and a real experience. And again, just like listening to your music, I found John Wesley Harding, Wesley Stace, as I was a college radio DJ, and I've always enjoyed your music. I know so many people have, so it's such a pleasure to bring it here over a glass of Kings County whiskey on Bourbon Blog.
Absolutely, and thanks to Kings County for providing the and getting me the necessary.
Yes, thank you, Kings County. Thanks everybody for watching. We're going to keep this video up on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and I will also be putting it on our podcast channel as well. So if you're just listening, it is anchor.fm/Bourbon Blog. It'll be up after this. Again, check out his concert tomorrow night in Philadelphia, and many more concerts coming up, or several more. We're going to wait and see what happens, and I understand that it'll all be going information up on wesleystace.com. Wes, thank you. It's late style, and get one of those coasters.
Thanks
and get it. I'm going to have to make your cocktail. I really got to try this.
Oh, the cocktail's delicious.
I got to make it.
We tasted it. We tested it in the kitchen. It's a great cocktail, and I want to say thank you to your viewers and listeners, and mostly to you, because I always look forward to talking to you and to drinking whiskey with you.
Thank you. Me too, Wes. Hopefully, we'll have some with you in person real soon. And cheers, my friend.
Cheers,
everybody.
Cheers
Thanks
to you.
so much.